All right, guys, we got another IGN first here for Crimson Desert. I made a couple videos reacting to these and been doing pretty good, so I figured I'd do this one too. Also, this is my most anticipated game of the year next year. I know we have Requiem coming out, RE9, GTA 6, which is going to be just the biggest thing in the entire freaking universe. But this is my most anticipated game of the year so far. I am a huge fan of the Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom, The Witcher 3. I just love medieval fantasy, like the Game of Thrones setting. This seems to be trying to do all that wrapped into one package. We'll see how they pull it off, but so far, it's looking great. And this isn't some kind of like new developer, Pearl Abyss, who's making this game. They made the like hugely popular MMO RPG, I think it is. It's either MMO or MMO RPG. It's called Black Desert. Now this is called Crimson Desert. This is their first take though at like a single player open world type of game. You know, think The Witcher meets Assassin's Creed meets the new Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom. That's kind of what we got here. So this just came out last night, like it's like 23 hours old. This is like another preview. I think it digs deeper into like how the game functions, you know, gameplay by gameplay. So it's what, 9 minutes 38 seconds. Let's jump in.
It has been almost 6 years since Crimson Desert was first revealed to the world. Across that period, developer Pearl Abyss has shown off a huge array of ideas, mechanics, and boss battles. It's frequently been cited.
Yeah, they got some crazy looking bosses in this game too. From like giant, you know, knights to like just crazy looking like Yetis and shit. It looks, like I said, it looks fucking awesome so far.
As something of an everything game. An open world adventure with sky islands, mechanical dragons, wrestling moves, interdimensional gateways, interacting elemental effects.
Yeah, you can legit suplex your enemies in this game, like drop kick them. Think like WWE / WWF type of moves.
And even a Spider-Man web swing. But the more that's been revealed, the more there's been the sense that Crimson Desert may be a lot of pieces in need of a whole. Finding that complete picture was my main objective when I visited Pearl Abyss's studio in Seoul for this month's IGN First.
Yeah, the South Korean
While
developer.
I can't say I found it yet, multiple hours of hands-on playtime has revealed a game that's maybe not as strange as you'd expect. In fact, Crimson Desert feels pretty straightforward.
You can use a mech. Fight a Mecha Godzilla type of dragon.
Pearl Abyss has crafted a reasonably traditional open world adventure made up of
you can get different mounts like a horse, a bear, a raptor, a dragon.
Of main and optional quests, plus classic distractions like fishing. You'd be forgiven for not realizing this though. Pearl Abyss has put almost all of its promotional efforts into showcasing boss fights. Not only that,
look, suplex, dude. You just straight suplex them.
Fantasy with sci-fi and steampunk elements does make it seem like
Crash
it's
the
being pulled in
Slayer.
several directions at once.
In order to destroy such a weapon, you'll need to acquire Golden Star's power core.
Golden Star.
When you're on the ground and seeing how all these elements interact though, it doesn't feel quite so alien. The continent of Pywel is perhaps less like a typical Tolkien-esque fantasy world and more akin to Dungeons & Dragons, a setting that, in recent years, was host to a Mad Max-like vehicular chase through hell. Pearl Abyss's design team explained that they wanted
you get the medieval setting here.
Of our reality, in which some
and the devs are saying they want some societies, like this is like I don't think this is one giant kingdom. It's like separate kingdoms throughout this land called Pywel, and some of them are more old school, some are more advanced, like we're seeing here. So it's a different mixture of cultures.
Much more futuristic than others. And note that some of Pywel's leaders may be more resistant to the advancement of technology than others, a conflict that'll be explored through various faction quests. All this means that the variety doesn't feel artificial or there simply for the sake of being wild, even when you're at the controls of a
and the dwarves are the ones who
robot,
built these mechs.
Designed by dwarven engineers.
Which fits perfect.
Of these mechanized and steampunk elements grant Pearl Abyss the creative license to build quests that are a significant departure.
That's a giant mechanical dragon.
Like Skyrim. A major part of
my Golden
Golden
Star.
Completing a quest for Marnie, a scientific genius who cloned his own consciousness to create an AI-like entity called Hall. Naturally, the results of such an experiment have gone very wrong, and Marnie's evil digital magic twin has taken command of a flying fortress that's terrorizing Pywel's skies. Defeating Hall.
Look at the gears turning and the springs, like the chains for like ligaments and stuff.
Weapon called Golden Star.
Damn.
And by weapon, he means a giant mechanical dragon. While they presumably have ballistic
it's like having a
missiles
fucking
in
nuke.
What with the advanced engineering and all, of course the fantasy version of a nuke is flying Mecha Godzilla. All that stands between me and this winged menace is a fortress filled with angry battle robots. It appears that fortress assaults will be a significant recurring objective in Crimson Desert, considering that my hands-on time involved no fewer than 3 of them.
You got like
I can see why
crazy
developers
moves
was
you can
keen
use to
show them
fight
off,
enemies.
as they are a showcase for some of the project's strongest achievements.
And I think also too, you get like elemental damage with your weapons. Like I think it's just they're gonna keep a basic wind. I think wind might be one. I don't know, but I know it's like ice, fire, water, stuff like that.
A great sense of atmosphere, with a legion of men from either side battling the living hell out of each other, and you're caught in the middle of it all. Fun mechanical wrinkles add texture. During one attack, I was able to fire signaling arrows that were quickly followed by a bombardment of artillery, decimating enemy soldiers and reducing buildings to splinters. In another, I was able to circumnavigate the brutal melee entirely, sneaking into the castle through a crumbling wall and using the prison as a shortcut to the boss. And in my fight through the robot fortress, a backpack-mounted EMP device allowed me to fry the circuits of both the lumbering ground threats and airborne bug bots in one giant blast. There's always something new to try, something to experiment with. But as much as these fortress assaults are a demonstration of Crimson Desert's highs, they also simultaneously reveal what could turn out.
I remember the devs were saying in one interview that like combat-wise, their inspiration wasn't like The Witcher or Breath of the Wild or like more recently Ghost of Yotei. Their main inspiration for like actual like battle in the game was like Street Fighter, Tekken. So expect like they wanted to put like incorporate those type of moves into the game. And we're seeing something like the drop kicks, the suplexes and stuff like that. Just looks fucking awesome.
Blemishes. Battling masses of enemies is surprisingly tedious, feeling messy and repetitive rather than an engaging chain of frontline fights. An awkward lock-on feature pushed me away from one-on-one duels into a more freeform playstyle, but that came with the baggage of imprecise strikes and occasionally kicking the air instead of faces. Absolutely none of these issues hamper the boss battles, which was my only experience of Crimson Desert prior to this demonstration, and I was quite surprised at how
it's looking like there's a lot of boss battles in this game.
Scenarios, even when using the same moveset. It's in these smaller, less refined details where Crimson Desert threatens to lose itself. There are occasions where you need to pick up and manipulate objects, such as planting a banner to inspire your allies. Doing so requires standing still, turning to face the object, activating a focus mode, rapidly tapping a button to lift your target, and then finally using your telekinetic powers to manually move it. All of this is a slightly baffling annoyance when erecting flags, but it turns into a genuine frustration in the middle of a boss battle, when you're desperately trying to slam a fallen masonry column during the precious few seconds when the boss is stunned.
Yeah, that could get a bit annoying.
Thankfully,
actually, they don't look that bad.
Ultra hand juggling is required to extract the power core from Golden Star. As we explored earlier this month in our making of feature, this is a boss fight with a unique mechanic that must be discovered in the quite literal heat of battle. The dragon's flaming breath activates an array of pylons dotted around the arena, which then dispense EMP bombs that you can fire from an arm-mounted cannon.
Like you're fighting a mech dragon with all the dragons flying around you.
Belching the flames that produce the EMP bombs that will eventually bring him crashing to the ground.
Look how cool look with the gears turn in.
Of strikes until he reboots and begins the cycle anew.
Oh, the metal and gold.
You have to do this. You could, for instance, use lightning arrows to apply a stun, or simply chip away at his health bar with ranged attacks. But I feel that the real enjoyment in all of Crimson Desert's boss fights have been finding the unique mechanic built into the arena or even the enemy itself. Bosses are not the only thing in need of conquering. Suspended high above Pywel are a scattering of abyss islands, accessed through
Tears of the Kingdom style stuff
with mysterious abyss artifacts. These islands appear to come in multiple guises. Last year we saw that one of them is home to an alchemist called Alastin and his Library of Providence, and my hands-on session included one that was more akin to Zelda's puzzle shrines. Its checkerboard floor was essentially a room-sized circuit board in need of a total rewiring. And finding the correct path through the grid of rotating flagstones unlocks the island's treasure trove. This is, of course, the sort of puzzle you've solved in everything from Watch Dogs to Bioshock, but I enjoyed how your equipment is integral to
just looks so fucking beautiful too.
Illuminates the correct pathway, and your grapple hook is used to spin each tile. So while this challenge is not particularly taxing, I hope its solid foundations are the basis for more interesting puzzles that await among the clouds. When you've uncovered an Abyss Island's secrets, you can leap off the side and float down to Earth.
Start
where
gliding.
plenty more traditional open world fare awaits.
Where we dropping, boys?
Visit, in which you'll find shopkeepers to trade with and bounties to take on. Out in the wilderness, there are camps to clear out and roaming barbarians to slaughter.
So you can ride a bear, a horse. You can ride a legit like dinosaur, like a raptor, a dragon.
Will be more important than others, I'm told.
Pal with the mech.
Their own quest lines, such as House Wells, a family of nobles led by a duke who's lost his castle to rebel forces. A situation that's the catalyst for one of those aforementioned fortress assaults. Pearl Abyss was quick to clarify that these groups are not like Fallout's factions, and allegiances with them won't change the course of the story or impact Crimson Desert's ending, which is set in stone. And so I'm left wondering, what are the faction quests in aid of? When asked, Pearl Abyss's design team explained that they were there to ensure that the factions felt like significant actors in the plot, and that they offered more content for players to complete. That considered, I am a little apprehensive that at least some of Crimson Desert's offerings will be stuff to do rather than meaningful interlinked opportunities. That brings us back to my very first question. What is Crimson Desert as a whole? I know it's a vast open world with
fucking fly dragon
inspired combat that works better against bosses than it does against fodder. It's got spectacle-laden quests that take you from in-the-mud castle assaults all the way up to aerial dogfights.
Just fucking straight throwing the guy.
Time distractions, from fishing and bounties to taming bears and buckling up in a battle mech. But I'm still waiting to discover the glue between all this that elevates an open world to new heights. Shadow of Mordor has the Nemesis system, which chains its enemies together into a foe-conquering big picture.
And look how that turned out for the studio.
2 systems are united by a pursuit of realism and authenticity that makes its campaign feel like a life lived rather than a game played. And this year's Ghost of Yotai links every activity on its map to a new unlock on your skill tree, ensuring even little diversions are a growth opportunity. That's the stuff that's so far been missing from Crimson Desert's demonstrations, and the thing I hope will eventually be revealed when I get to play multiple consecutive hours rather than a collection of isolated quests and bosses. Without it, I still think Crimson Desert stands a solid chance at being an overall good time, but with it, it could become something much more special.
I think this game's going to be fucking
check out
huge.
Our combat explainer and our showcase of every boss battle revealed.
Like I said, this game is just speaking my language. This is my type of game. Like, I love The Witcher, Red Dead, the old school Assassin's Creed games, the new Zelda games, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. This game, if I trust the studio. I feel like these guys know what they're doing. They aren't some new studio. They've been around the block. They know how to make games. And lately, the East market, China, Korea, they've been dominating the games space with titles like Black Myth Wukong, Stellar Blade. Like, these guys are just making the West look like a joke right now, Western developers. I have full faith in this game, and I hope it turns out great. So that is the quick look from IGN. Got a little bit more here, see if anything else pops up. Just another boss battle. Walter Lanford. There's so many like diverse bosses in this game, like giant knights, the abominable like Yeti looking things. It's just fucking crazy, and I'm all for it. IGN's been doing a great job too with this IGN first for this game. Like I said, this is my most anticipated game next year, and it comes out March 19th, I believe. So we got Requiem at the very end of February, and then this game. So we'll leave it here. Let me know what you guys think about the game. Like and subscribe for more Crimson Desert and just overall gaming content. I'll see you next time. Bye.